Alright guys, welcome to the last lesson for the COVID era. This is going to be the final format for the quadratic formula. We learned it last week, but this week we're going to have kind of a different answer, and you guys will see in a bit. So we're going to start off with the same thing, label up our A, B, and C for the quadratic formula. We have A equals 3, B equals 6, and C equals -6. Throw it into your quadratic formula. At this point, you guys have it memorized. X is equal to -6 plus and minus the square root of 6 squared minus 4 times 3 times -6. All over 2 times 3. Right? At this point, you guys have done enough. Right? I don't need to explain this step. And then you guys simplify. Again, you guys know how to simplify, so -6 plus and minus the square root of 36 minus, going to use a calculator, because I cannot multiply, minus plus 72, because -4 times 3 is -12, -12 times -6 is positive 72, all over 6, 2 times 3 is 6. This gives us -6 plus and minus math 76 plus 30 72 plus 36 equals 108, square root of 108 all over 6. Okay, so this time, instead of this coming out to a perfect number, this number is now it is irrational, right? You cannot simplify the radical. Actually, it doesn't go into a perfect square root, so you have to simplify square root of 108. So now we throw it back to when we were simplifying radicals, 108. 108 is the square root of, let's do 2 and 54. 54 is 2 and 27. 27 is 3 times 3 times 3. Square root of 108 is, whoops, did not need to write that. 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. Bring out your groups of 2's. So I have a 2 outside, a 3 outside, and a 3 on the inside. This dies, this dies. So I have 6 radical 3. So the square root of 108 is 6 radical 3. -6 plus and minus 6 radical 3 over 6. Now, I don't think we've ever simplified this, so this is going to be your first time. So when you're simplifying something like this, in order to simplify, you need to look at all 3 terms. So some of us might just want to do like this, or just like this, but both cases would be wrong. You need to simplify at all 3 terms. So this term, this, and this. Notice how oh look, it looks like a heart. I did not circle the inside of the radical. You cannot simplify the inside of the radical with something outside of the radical. It doesn't make sense. Math doesn't work that way. So everything has to be on the outside. So I have -6 plus or minus 6 over 6. I can divide -6, 6, and 6 all by 1. All by 6. So dividing everything by 6 will give me this equal to -1 plus and minus 1 radical 3 over 1. And because it's over 1, I really don't need to write this, so it's -1 plus and minus radical 3. Now this, you actually do not need to split apart because this is technically 2 answers. -1 plus radical 3, -1 minus radical 3. But writing this already shows me that you know there's 2 answers. And if you leave it like that, we stop right here. Stop. Alright, so this week looks a little different. The setup is the same, but then once you get to this step, you have to simplify the radical. And then once you simplify the radical, you have to simplify all 3 terms. Alright, let's go ahead and let's do the we do with me, and let's see how it goes.